Look at these two cards. One line on the left, three lines on the right. One of them is obviously the same length. A 5-year-old gets this right every time. In fact, when people answered alone, they were correct more than 99% of the time. It is not a hard question. Now put 6 strangers in the room with you. They all answer first, and every single one of them gives the same wrong answer. Your turn. 3 out of 4 people, at some point, said the wrong answer out loud. They looked at a line, saw the truth, and said something else because everyone around them did. You are certain you'd be the one who didn't. So were they. The man behind it was Solomon Asch, a psychologist at Swarthmore College. The year was 1951, and he was troubled by something he had watched happen in the world. Whole nations had followed obvious lies. Ordinary people had gone along with things they must have known were wrong. The comfortable explanation was that those people were different, weaker. Asch wanted to test that with something no one could argue about. Not politics, not morality, just a line on a card. Because if a group could make you deny a line, it could make you deny anything. Over the next few years, he would run more than 120 men through that room, one at a time. Here's what each participant experienced. You answer an ad for a study on visual perception. You arrive, and there are 7 other people already seated. They nod at you. They seem normal. You take the second to last seat. What you don't know is that the other 7 are actors. You are the only real participant in the room, and the seating is rigged so that you almost always answer last. The task could not be simpler. The experimenter holds up 2 cards. On the first, a single vertical line. On the second, 3 lines, labeled A, B, and C. Your job. Say which of the 3 matches the first. Out loud, in front of everyone. The first round is easy. The man at the end says B. Everyone says B. You say B. Correct. Boring. The second round is the same. You start to relax. You wonder why you were even needed. Then comes the third round. The lines are just as obvious. The answer is clearly C. The first actor says A. You almost smile. He must have misheard. The second actor says A. The third says A. The fourth, the fifth, the sixth. 6 people in a row, calm and certain, giving an answer your own eyes tell you is wrong. And now everyone is looking at you. This is the moment Asch built the whole experiment to create. In that silence, something happens inside a person that we've all felt and almost never admit. Your certainty starts to bend, not your knowledge, your nerve. There were 18 rounds. 12 of them were rigged like that. And here is what happened. 75% of participants conformed at least once. Across all the rigged rounds, people gave the group's wrong answer about 1/3 of the time. Remember, alone, the error rate was under 1%. The lines didn't change, only the room did. And it didn't take a crowd. 1 actor giving a wrong answer barely moved anyone. 2 made people hesitate. But 3 was enough to produce almost the full effect, and adding 10 more changed almost nothing. You don't need a mob to bend a person. You need 3 people who agree. But the numbers aren't the disturbing part. The interviews were. Afterwards, Asch asked them why. A few said they had genuinely started to see the lines differently, that the group had actually bent their perception. But most knew. They knew the whole time. They looked straight at the right answer, and they said the wrong one anyway. Not because they were confused, because they didn't want to be the one person in the room who was different. Asch saw 2 different failures. In a few, the group had bent what they saw. In most, the group had bent only what they were willing to say. That's the uncomfortable truth Asch exposed. We don't conform because we're stupid, or weak, or easily fooled. We conform because being alone against a group feels dangerous. For most of human history, it was. Being cast out of the tribe wasn't embarrassing. It was fatal. So we carry an instinct that quietly whispers, whatever you do, don't be the odd one out. And that instinct doesn't care whether the group is right. But Asch found something else, and this is the part that should give you hope. He changed one thing. He put one other person in the room who told the truth. Just one. Not a friend. A stranger who simply said, "See" out loud before you did. Conformity collapsed by around 80%. One voice. That's all it took. When even one other person broke the unanimity, the spell broke with it, and people found their own answer again. But there was a cruel detail. If that ally answered correctly for a while, and then switched back to the majority, conformity came flooding back worse than before. The relief wasn't the person, it was not being alone. And when he let people write their answers privately instead of saying them aloud, conformity almost vanished. Which tells you exactly what was happening. It was never about not knowing the truth. It was about not wanting to say it. You have felt the edge of this. The meeting where everyone nodded at a plan you knew was wrong and you nodded too. The joke you laughed at. The opinion you kept to yourself because the room had already decided. The line you saw perfectly well and called A. Solomon Asch didn't prove that people are sheep. He proved something more useful. That the pressure you feel is real, it's ancient, and it's almost never about the truth. And that it breaks the instant one person refuses to play along. The room is still full. It's every comment section that already agreed, every group chat with a consensus, every table where the safe thing is to nod. The cards are still going up. The actors still answer first. So the next time 6 people say A, and you can see it's C, remember that everyone else in that room is waiting for exactly the same thing. For one person to say it out loud. And that everything changes when someone does. Because the experiment never tested whether you could see the line. It tested whether you would say it. Would you have said C and be honest? Tell me in the comments. And if you want to understand the experiments that reveal who we really are, this is the human experiment. I'll see you in the next case.